Hey everyone, this is the ThinkEnergy podcast, and I'm your host, Dan Sige from Hydro Ottawa. Are you looking to better understand the fast-changing world of energy? Well, the ThinkEnergy podcast isn't your ordinary energy show. Every 2 weeks, we take you on a tour and discuss, through a communication lens, some of the coolest trends, emerging technologies, and latest innovations. So stay tuned as we explore some traditional and some quirky facets of this industry. This is the ThinkEnergy podcast. Welcome to episode 1 of the ThinkEnergy podcast. So here's today's big question. Ever wanted your home to become a virtual power plant? Or wondered what is a microgrid? Today's guest will speak about an exciting new trial project, the MiGen Transactive Grid. He'll help us understand how a connected network of homes, businesses can generate, store, and sell their excess generating power. In this episode of ThinkEnergy, my guest is Charles Berndt. He leads grid technology at Hydro Ottawa. Okay, welcome, Charles. Let's start by telling our listeners who Charles Berndt is.
Okay, well, I guess simply put, I'm the manager of grid technology here at Hydro Ottawa. In that role, I kind of have two main responsibilities. First, to develop and support the technology systems that allow us to run our grid. And by that, I mean tools like our control system, our outage management system, and our GIS system.
What's GIS?
Our geographic information system. Basically our map. Every asset, every piece of transformer, every pole, every wire, every piece of fiber, we put it on that map so we have a clear picture of how things are connected.
Okay.
My second responsibility, I guess, is to develop and deploy new and advanced technology to support our grid. Now, of course, this is obviously too much for one guy, so I count myself extremely lucky to have working with me a truly exceptional team of engineers and technologists that take care of each and every problem.
And I thought by asking that question, I would get Charles Berndt. I'm a married man. I'm happily married. I have kids. And look at what I got. Okay, Charles, thank you for that. Can you tell me what attracted you to the utility sector?
Yeah, and I guess, to understand that, you have to know that technology has always been my passion. I've did it in school, and so the utility sector is actually my third career. I started off in the high-tech sector working at a California-based technology firm. It was bleeding edge research and development, but it was way out on the edge. And so with that, the stock drops a quarter of a point and, the organization shifts direction. So it was interesting technology work, but it didn't have that societal impact. It didn't have, I wasn't changing people's lives. I was making a little widget faster and cooler and neater, but
Okay.
It wasn't, it didn't have, It didn't have anything. So I jumped from that to an aerospace company, and that was amazing. I worked on some really amazing projects that are going to affect, society, understanding of science, and it was awesome.
Okay.
But the aerospace industry in Canada, these projects are few and far between. So, you build this amazing team, and then project's over and we all kind of go our separate ways. So I was looking for that, how can I leverage technology and innovation, but also, have the time to build a roadmap, to build a team. And so this opportunity in grid technology at Hydro Ottawa really spoke to me. It checked all those boxes, using innovation, using technology, deploying technology to solve problems, but also in an environment that helps people's lives, that affects people's lives day in and day out, improves everything, and then also, where I could set a vision and a technology plan and actually see it through.
Very interesting. Well, actually, great segue here. Can you share with our listeners some information on this cool little project actually that I noticed that your team's working on? It's the MiGen Transactive Grid. Essentially, it's a virtual power plant, correct? What? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so MyGen is like a really exciting project that my team is working on, and we've started to develop that concept of what the distribution utility would look like in the future, and I mean well into the future. And it looks more and more like an interactive relationship between the utility and the customer. So we're not just mailing you a bill and providing you, energy day in and day out, which we'll always do and always be there for. But it's about being more interactive with our customers. And I like to use the analogy of think about it as Uber. Uber doesn't own cars. Uber doesn't build roads. What they do is it's a software platform that connects users to drivers. It connects that need to that supply. And I think that's what MiGen Transactive Grid really is about. It enables participants to help shape the future of the electricity grid, and enabling homes and businesses to generate their own solar power, to store it, to share electricity in a connected microgrid, essentially, while still being connected to the utility. Okay. So you would have solar panels and state-of-the-art batteries. You would have a smart inverter. Anything that you don't use in your own home that you generate in excess, you use it through net metering, and you give it back to the grid, and you get credit for that. Or you can connect to your neighbors and develop that transactive economy right at the edge of the grid.
Okay. Well, if I was to look at this concept through a customer lens, so the end user, what are some of the benefits that the customer would see?
There's a few really good ones. I mean, one of the first ones is avoiding outages. So having that smart inverter, those solar panels on the roof, and that battery allows you to ride through with your critical loads in your home on a separate panel. When the power goes out, you can still have your fridge. You can still, if your TV is important to you, you can connect your TV to that.
Okay.
And allows you to kind of, utilize that generated power from the sun to deal with those outages. The second one I would say is clean energy, right? We're moving towards a low carbon economy eventually, and our environment and climate change is very important. So generating your own solar power, using it in your home, that's important. And I would like, the last one I would say is a better future. We don't want to overbuild the distribution system, right? We don't want to build for all the worst case capacity. If everyone had an electric vehicle, we don't want to replace all of the distribution system to accommodate that. What makes more sense is having generation right at the edge, allowing customers to generate their own energy and to sell that energy either back to the grid or even their next door neighbor, right on the same transformer as them, and have that dynamically with software managed right at the edge, so that we're able to have visibility on what's happening on the system, but allowing customers to really have that choice.
Yeah. Okay. We just looked at it through the customer lens. Let me throw it in another way here. Through a marketing lens, a concept like MyGen must address a problem. What solution is this innovation bringing to the market? What makes it unique? Are there competitors? Like, what's your unique selling proposition here?
I would say for the distribution companies out there, the unique selling proposition is dealing with that capacity, right at the edge. Right now, we don't, when we have a customer come to us with solar panels, we design it kind of on the, on a paper process, and we say, or a software that says, this is the worst case, and can we allow this person to generate or not? It's a yes or no answer, and that's not the right answer, right? It should be yes for everyone, and so that unique proposition is that connectivity and the choices that the customer has dynamically, and the management that the utility needs to manage that capacity and to have that interactive conversation, which I don't think anyone is there yet, and that's where we're going.
Okay. Well, so I'm assuming that working on these types of emerging technologies would involve numerous partners. Did you tag team with other institutions to secure this type of commercial potential, or even the commercialization of this product or service?
Yeah, we've got one thing that's really fantastic about this project is the partners. We're partnering with academia, so the University of Ottawa, Carleton University, Algonquin College. We're reaching into those organizations and finding those strong groups of people who are researching this problem, and we're bringing them on board to this project and saying, look, how would you architect this? How would you secure it? How would you How would you design those interfaces in a modern way? Then we have a large group of corporate partners. We're working with a software company called Opus One, who's building that transactive energy market. We're working with SEMA Plus, an engineering firm, to look at safety and cybersecurity by design. McRae is a company that would be doing our customer loyalty and that that billing and that advanced customer engagement technology. We are working with a small startup company like Stash Energy on thermal storage. So it's a broad, a deep mix of various companies and organizations that we're leveraging and trying to bring on board to this project. And
that's fascinating. That's fascinating. Okay, so I want to be respectful of your time here. I know you're a busy man. So here's my last question: what keeps you up at night?
There's two things I would say. So on the technology side, cybersecurity, we're building that connected grid of the future, and we're doing everything we can to secure it by design, to put multiple layers of security. But it's an evolving field, and so that always is on top of mind when we do these technology projects. And then the second one I would say is policy. The distribution and electricity sector in Ontario in particular is going through change, necessary change, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, customers are paying a lot of money, and we know that. And so the policy changes are happening quite quickly. And I just, what keeps me up at night in that regard is making sure that we get a chance. There is so much so many good ideas, so much innovation that we're capable of, and I want to make sure that we're given the chance to do that. And I don't, I worry that people perhaps think that, those distribution companies, they're old and slow, they've been around forever doing the same thing, and we have been doing the same thing because policies made us do the same thing. But I want people to understand that there's some significant innovation happening here, and given the chance, I think you'd be surprised that your small distribution company can do quite a lot.
Quite a lot. If someone wanted to reach out to you or connect, where and how could they do that?
So me personally, I'm on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'm always available. Here at Hydro Ottawa, I would encourage people to reach out. And then for our project, we have a landing page. So at hydroottawa.com/MyGen, MIGEN, and that will kind of lead you to specific information about this project.
So Charles, listen, thank you very much for joining us today. This was a lot of fun.
No, thank you.
Thank you. We hope you enjoyed this episode of ThinkEnergy. If so, please head on over to iTunes to rate, review, and subscribe. Also, be sure to tell your friends and colleagues about us. It's very much appreciated. We'd love to hear from you, so check us out on hydroottawa.com. Thank you for listening.